So I know we had a main room, so we'll call, I don't know, we'll just call it the main room. Who wants to report back? The folks that were with Karina and Amanda. Let's go with them first.
So I'll open it up one more time to see if anyone from the main room would want to give the report back. So again, these are just maybe key topics that we talked about or highlights for you that you heard. So I'll kind of open it up to folks in the main room if they would like to do that. All right, no takers, but I wanted to offer it in case anyone did want to. So I'll go ahead and start. I'm referring to the Jamboard, so if my eyes look a little funky, that's why. So we had a great conversation, really grateful that folks were willing to share their experiences, and also on the first question, which was on outreach. So how can CARB best inform you that something is going on? So we heard a lot of different ideas. There was a big one focused on, the idea of customer service. And so the acronym that I heard was CRN, which is customer
Relation management, CRM. Yeah.
CRM. Yes, thank you, Lisa. So kind of maybe having this centralized location and really having it be focused on, the customer, but in this case, the public. And also here we talked about also this idea of trust that, as a regulatory agency, as a state agency, some folks may not trust us, but at the end of the day, maybe there are other folks who we can work with that people do trust. So maybe local community-based organizations or nonprofit organizations in order to communicate or get information out to folks that maybe they have an established relationship with. And then I'll go ahead and see if Amanda, you had anything to add on this first topic, which was outreach.
Oh, just the first topic. Can I branch into other ones?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes in my notepad. I didn't divide it up. But there's a couple comments that really stuck out to me, and one of those was the portal. So kind of getting into like the follow-up, having somewhere that folks can go and they know where to submit their questions or comments, and also they can track like the whole life cycle of that comment and have a way to follow up as well. And then also we heard a lot about when it gets to the local level, that there's issues with those local governments having mistrust, and CARB really taking a leadership role in doing the supervision that we can. And let's see. And as being like a trustee agency and how critical that is when it comes to CEQA as well. We heard some comments about that and how important it is to have radical inclusion. I really liked that term that Matt brought up, that it's looping in folks who maybe don't know that they need the help, or don't know that, CARB is there and should be working with them. So I really appreciated that too.
Thanks, Amanda and Karina. And just real quick, if anybody from that first breakout or the main room wanted to add anything, you're, always welcome to jump in. Yeah, hi, Rita.
Thank you so much for asking. Yeah, I just wanted to add a little bit more context to some of the comments that I made regarding the outreach. Because even though we are an entity that represent businesses, we are not businesses ourselves. So we are not directly regulated. What we do is we help businesses comply with regulations by virtue of networking and getting them in touch with our members who are supplying the environmentally friendly materials for many, many industries. So one of the problems that we're dealing with now is that participation for us in the AB 617 community process is very difficult because we're not allowed to sit on the committee. We don't hold a seat. Trade organizations like ours are not allowed to participate in that way. So we're basically limited to the 3 minutes of public comment at the end of the meeting. The businesses that we represent, for example, I'm in San Bernardino County, but we're a international organization. We're in different counties throughout the state. Those businesses, they do not have the wherewithal, or sometimes they're really intimidated by participating in a process like this. So they rely on entities like us to be able to make that connection. And we are not allowed, same thing like the Small Business Alliance is not allowed. So we're actually petitioning the Air Quality Management District. I'm a member of their local government small business advisory committee, to ask CARB to please come up with a policy or some workaround that would allow a nonprofit organization rather than just the for-profit businesses to be on this committee. And as recently as today, the executive officer of the South Coast Air Quality Management District, Wayne Nastry, said that basically it's CARB that is coming up with that policy, that it is not the local district. So we're in this kind of middleman area where we're not really sure where to go, but that really impedes to communication between the regulated community and the agency. Because our businesses are also part of that community. Thank you.
Thanks, Rita. And I know there might be some folks, we can connect you with to dive deeper into that topic. That's helpful. So Matt, I'll ask you if you wanted to, say some more from your group.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, it's going to be really hard to get this perfect from jump. But I remember discussing, those most vulnerable populations, the people whose lifespans have been abridged or have been born not weighing enough, that it's okay to focus on those populations first, and we can get around to, thorough business inclusion or thorough agency inclusion someday. But nobody's ever going to chew us apart for focusing on most vulnerable populations. And in fact, that's government compliance with Government Code 11135. We need to focus on the people that we've failed all these decades. And this is going to be an iterative process. So staff don't need to. It's a huge elephant to eat. And they say you eat an elephant one bite at a time, but you actually start with the eyes. That way it can't get away. So let's start with the vulnerable. That's a gross joke. Let's start with the vulnerable populations that are currently under siege and experiencing serious, physical harm based on the history of planning and the absenteeism of this agency and its regional air districts.
Thanks, Matt. I hope I don't keep that image in my head too far out from this meeting, but appreciate that.
Why I used it.
Okay, thank you. I'll turn it over. I know Samantha and Samantha, I'll turn it over to you for your report back.
Yeah, no worries. So we actually had a volunteer, John, if you're still willing to provide us with a little report back, that would be greatly appreciated.
Nope, you're on mute, John.
I'll be honest with you, I enjoyed some of the questions. I'm a little talkative, and so I felt the need to go ahead and express myself. But that being the case, I think that some of the stuff that we talked about, for instance, 60% of the population is estimated to be visual learners, not necessarily just statistics and pie charts, charts, but to see something more tangible, like, instead of talking about a food program, show some of the pictures that I have of us delivering food to small children, families. And then all of a sudden it sparks an emotion. And I think it's a way to be more personable. I think it's a way to show folks who in many cases have little to no education other than, living the life as best they can and doing what they can in order to make a difference. I know this one gentleman, he's got 5 kids, okay? And he says his wife doesn't work, and I suggested to him, no, she has 5 full-time jobs. And and uh, and he laughed, but he also understood that I understand what he's trying to do because we had invited him to a meeting, but he couldn't come. He's working on average 12 to 14 hours a day, 2 different jobs. And I just told him, I said, we support you and we support your wife and your kids. And afterwards, he gave me a hug. That's the level that we need to be at, okay? And so that they feel comfortable knowing that we got their back. And I think it's important with any organization at both state and federal level that you understand the complexities of the smaller community and how they operate, okay? Just like with this flooding that we had here in San Diego, okay? I go up and down the street. Are you okay? Well, we got flooded, we got this, we got that. Okay, let's see what we can do about that. Okay, let's send some folks over to mop the floors, or you know what I mean, try to vacuum some of this stuff out. And you want to make a difference? Get down to the personal level of these individuals, and they will appreciate you and what you represent. Okay, and for some of us who, I'll be honest with you, I've been doing this for free for 50 years. Spent over $80,000 of my own savings. These aren't just kids from the community. These are my kids. Okay? This is my family. And I can't do anything other than to support them. But by the same token, we got to have frijoles, as we say, to make it happen. If it's food, if it's, when COVID was going, I was delivering face masks and hand sanitizers to private homes and all throughout the community. And that's how the community falls in love with what it is that you're doing. And it's so important that we're not seen as just, big government, okay? We need to be seen as working through our communities and so on and so forth. And I'm part indigenous, and so I also work with our indigenous tribes, the Kumeyaay tribes and whatnot. And it's just when they know that we're there for them, it makes all the difference in the world. All the difference in the world. I had a little funny. I was talking with a young guy, and he goes, why are you helping us? I said, it's simple. Have you ever pricked your finger? He goes, what do you mean? I said, have they ever taken blood, or you ever cut your finger? I said, what color was it? He goes, well, red. And I said, well, then we're related. Because it's the only color I concern myself with. And that's how I want to treat all my people in my neighborhood. Okay. And I think once we take that attitude and truly show love and understanding, all of a sudden it makes all the difference in the world. You're not just some politician. You're not just some group making money off of the people. And I feel very strongly about that. And,
Thank-
but thank you.
Thank you, John, and thanks for sharing and your thoughts. And one thing that I came out of that, I liked, I don't know who said, but you know, remember that you work for us and that, you know, you need to walk our walk. And I think that's also important. We need to remember, you know, we are working for the citizens of California, and mostly I think radical inclusion. You know, hopefully we work the hardest for those folks who have been left behind. So I think with that, thank you so much. I mean, really, for all your for sharing so deeply with us and spending your time with us. So I'm just going to go through some next steps. And then we are open to stay after. So we don't need to end right at 8, but we want to respect people's time that do want to leave or need to leave at 8. But if you want to stay longer, we can stay on a bit longer too to talk anything through or to answer any other questions you have. So just wanted to leave that for you all to think about. So I think we're on slide 34. Your past slides will flash in front of you as we get there. So as we get there, we just want to reiterate, I just want to go through how you can continue to give us feedback. Some of you, you know, we heard from, but some of you may feel more comfortable or think of something later as you're in the shower or sleeping at night, sometimes at 2 in.the.morning. I have my best ideas, unfortunately. But these are some ways that you can contact us. So we have this online form, which here's a link to that, which you can use to give us your comments. You also can just email us at this communityengagement@arb.ca.gov email address. You can call us at this phone number. We don't have anyone there answering the phone, but we are checking those messages regularly, frequently, especially through these dialogue sessions. So please, you can leave us a voicemail. And then all the meeting materials are available at this website linked below, the online meetings, more information about the whole dialogue session, the series, the online, the in-person. We've got notes from the meetings if you're interested in seeing what we learned from other meetings. So those are how you can give us your feedback going forward. And then next slide, please, slide 35. So as I mentioned, this is our last dialogue session. We had them starting in November, we had some in December, and then here in January, we've had about 4 this month. So mostly virtual and a couple in person. So we've wrapped up this section of the feedback, but like I said, we're going to take comments through April 3rd, and really it's a living document. So you know, we never are going to stop taking input or learnings from this, but we do need to have some idea of when, you know, we'll collect feedback for this model. So we're going to use the feedback. We have a lot of comments so far, so we're going to use the feedback to revise the draft model. We're going to be working with our community experts to review the draft model, and they've given us a lot of feedback. So in the spring of this year, we'll share a revised model, and then we're hoping or planning to launch the model within, you know, at CARB this summer, and develop training curriculum and training materials for staff as well. And then we are also going to be posting a summary of the comments, all the comments we heard and how we address them or, you know, consider them, and how we incorporated them if we did that. So we're going to be closing the loop and following our model as we go through this process. So then next slide. So I know we have 3 minutes left. And like I said, we can stay later, but we would love to just hear your thoughts on this meeting. So there's the QR code and a link. So while you're here right now, it'd be great if you just took a picture of that QR code and opened the survey and just got that taken care of right now. And then we can learn how you all thought it went and how we can do better. So that would be terrific. So I'll just leave that up right now for you all. But as you're doing the survey, just want to really thank you again for being here tonight on a Thursday night. I know it's cold, it's wet, it's dark, and you probably want to eat dinner and be with your family. And so we really appreciate you taking the time out of your evening to be with us and to really help us do our work better, but with the goal of really helping, more Californians and helping, racial equity, environmental equity, and just being better stewards for the California communities. So with that, I will hope you have a great evening, and thank you again.